Yo, it's your girl, Real Rose, up in here, and I love hanging out with Happy Monkey. I'm telling you, I always have a great time hanging out with me and my girls. You know, it's not just a vibe, it's a lifestyle. So if you ain't know, now you know. It's your girl, Real Rose. Much love to the Happy Monkey and the whole team out there. Y'all doing it big.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, the Happy Monkey Podcast. Y'all know what it is. My name is Ramon Reyes, creator and co-founder. You know, we got my man Vlad over here to the right. Jordan and David is always in the house. And today, we got a special guest. And I think this is why we call what I like what we always done, right? And what we've always done was no matter what, whether it's an event, whether it's, you know, a pop-up, whatever it is we do the podcast, we always bring in, you know, different characters of this cannabis world, right? Because people always ask us, yo, what's your demographic? The demographic is whoever loves cannabis, right? And cannabis doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a creed, it doesn't have a gender. It's a female, and the female gives love to all, right? Correct. So that's what this is about, right? Yep. And I think today is one of the proofs of that, right? We talk about legacy to legal. We talk about, you know, us. We always support women who are strong in this industry as well. So, you know, it's always a pleasure when we get to introduce, you know, our hood to somebody else's hood, right? And, you know, someone who went legacy to legal as well, right? Who's there at the moment, right? So I think today we have the pleasure of introducing creative director, CEO, creative director of Dagmar Dispensaries, and a lot more that we're gonna get into.
AKA the godmother, SOHO, baby.
Let's go. Jennifer Tzar, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. So get to know her. Her name is Jennifer Tzar, and we gonna get into it. There's a lot that we gonna get into it. But before that, we got some updates, right, David? What do we got?
Yeah. So we want to get into the fact that we've been telling y'all. We want y'all to continue to go to the link in the bio. We're looking for great talent out there. If you ever wanted to be part of a movement, of a booming industry, please put your info in there. Check in with us. We're looking for people that are ambitious, creative, and want to be part of the movement and these dispensaries that we're going to be opening soon. Also, you take advantage that you're listening to the podcast. Use the code LISTEN to get 20% off of the amazing merch we have here. So please stay tuned. You know, check out what we got going on.
Yeah. Keep supporting, keep subscribing, subscribe to the email, because that's where all the info comes out. If you guys, I know a lot of people ask us about events. They ask us about when the store is opening, all of these things. The best way to get the info first is when you subscribe to the email blast. So get online. Y'all already know Happy Monkey. Make sure you spell it with the U. I'll see you there.
Also,
now,
keep sending the art submissions in. We need that. We love art.
Yeah.
We need the culture to be, the New York culture to be really alive everywhere we are. So please keep doing that.
Yeah, man. So I guess today I feel like, you know, and I've always asked myself this question, right? Because I'm a New Yorker, but at heart I'm a hippie. And I feel like, where are the hippies at, right? And I feel like today I got a hippie vibe off you, even though you got this fly bohemian look, but we got like this little hippie vibe going on. Heart. See, so I'm happy we got to, you know, and I'm happy we got this podcast because we gonna get to learn a little bit about you. You gonna learn a little bit about us, right? We'll start straight from the beginning, right? And when I mean from the beginning, I mean little Jenny. Little Jenny. Let's talk to little Jenny, right? When was the first time little Jenny get high, right? And not only when, I want to know when. I want to know if it was a joint, a bong, what music was in the air at the time. Like, what was it? What was going on?
Oh, I have a pretty good visual for that one.
Let's go.
So my father was a rebellious farmer, biker, truck driver. Very American man, you know.
Very blue collar.
No, not
a man's
blue collar.
man.
Not blue collar at all. More like think Kurt Cobain. You know.
Yeah.
Like kind of shaggy hair, like 60s, 70s, like you know, plaid flannel, jeans with the bike chain and biker boots. Mm-hmm. You know, but like a man of the
Pretty
land.
good
Like
with his hands.
He grew all his own food. Oh yeah, built his own house, made snowshoes, like tanned leather after he hunted a deer. I mean, like that type,
Shit.
Bought the farm from my grandma, who it was a fifth generation farm in Minnesota. We grew most of our own food and stuff like that. Anyway, my parents get divorced when I'm 11 or 12. My dad just goes full on like biker, like he was young when I was
renegade,
born,
yeah.
and so he partied a lot, saw Harley. And it was at the club. It was this bikers clubhouse that he took me to, and motorcycle parts everywhere, and just and it was a pipe, and he said, "Do you want to try it?" I was like, "Yeah."
At what age were you at this point?
I don't know.
You in your teens?
14.
In your teens. Yeah, because everybody, see, I asked this question, and we get pretty much the same answer from everyone. It don't matter who sits down with us. Everyone gives us, well, I was probably like 12. I was probably like 13, 14, 15. Yeah. So, it's just I just want to give perspective to everybody that this has been happening forever, even before, so, I know a lot of people get worried about kids, but most of us started smoking when we was kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was just happy that it was with my dad the first time. I think that's what he wanted to do, is he wanted to make sure that he was the first, he wanted me to know that I could talk to him about it, and that it was open ended, and he did at some point tell me, he's like, look, try any drugs you want, just don't do heroin. These days he'd probably say an Oxycontin, but
word.
Was it a joint? Was it a?
It was a pipe. It was a pipe.
Yeah.
It was a pipe.
How did that feel?
Glass pipe. I felt like I was walking on the moon.
Walking on the moon.
Yeah, and you
My
safe.
feet were
You
heavy.
with your dad. It's like you're safe.
Yeah.
He didn't give you no weird stuff.
It felt emotionally. It felt really cool, like because there was just all like those really hot biker dudes and me, little me, and I was, they spoiled me.
All right. So what? So then, what made you from little Jenny, pothead little Jenny? Now you're grown.
Oh, I wasn't a pothead though. That
not yet.
I was like no, and I don't know if I ever truly have been a pothead. I definitely like to smoke, and I smoke it more a lot lately because it's around all the time, and I'm trying things too. But no, I smoked occasionally. I didn't drink till I was like 32 at all. But smoking to me was like something I did like once a month. It was a special occasion. Like I always kept it. I made sure I had it at home. But it was always, something like listening to amazing music and cleaning, and then going for a walk in nature or something like that. I was never like a wake and baker.
Mm-hmm.
But as I got older, I started to use it for other things, like focusing, being more creative, being in nature, being, enjoying things that are beautiful, taking the time to enjoy things that are beautiful.
It definitely taps into all that stuff.
Music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what made you move from Minnesota to New York?
Oh, I just wanted to get as far away from Minnesota as I could. That's without hitting the ocean. And so I ended up in New York. I had a 1964 Oldsmobile hearse. I had never been anywhere other than Wisconsin, and I packed it up and I drove to New York. I don't know.
What year was this? Can you remember?
It was 1987.
All right, just to give people, I just wanted to give people perspective, right? Because there's a lot of people that was. Look at that, 1987. So
You do the math.
No, I'm just saying because there's a lot of people that don't understand what was happening in New York in the late 80s into the 90s, Giuliani era and all that other stuff. So if you kind of lived through that here, you're kind of a New Yorker at this point, right?
Pre-Giuliani. Like I showed up.
Pre-Giuliani, that's right, because he was a DA at that point.
It looked like a third world country. And ended up, I went to a friend's brother's house that wasn't expecting me on Clinton Street. Oh my God, it was right here.
Clinton Street. We're on Clinton Street right now.
It was
That's
here.
crazy.
And it looked like a third world country. I mean, I was just like, what the fuck is this place? Like, it was just insane.
That's insane.
And I'd never seen anything like it
crazy.
before in my life. And I saw somebody standing waiting for a cab, and I thought that she was a prostitute. And I realized later, I learned, like weeks later, it's like, oh, that's how you take a taxi. Yeah.
So now Jenny's in the big city.
Yeah, I moved fast.
Over here, hanging out in Clinton Street, and then
for 2 days, and then I had my own apartment, Hell's Kitchen. I got a job waiting tables on the Upper East Side the next day, and then the day after that, I got an apartment in Hell's Kitchen for a month, and then I moved to East Village. Yeah.
You hit the ground running right away.
Always.
And then So you said you waited tables. Then what else did you get into as far as like work and etc.? Like
I got picked up for modeling work right away. Somebody scouted me on the Upper East Side. And that led to a year and a half of modeling in New York and Paris. And then I got pregnant with my daughter by a fashion designer. And I needed a job because there's not much work for pregnant models. But I had met a bunch of people in fashion at that point and started assisting wardrobe stylists. A big one right away, Patty Wilson, like Italian Vogue. She does everything. She's amazing. Worked for her briefly, and then I just started picking up my own styling work.
That's why you got the drip on. I see, your establishment. You always got so much different style and swag. Now I know where it comes from.
Yeah, I guess. But where did it come from before that? Like, I think you're just born, like, needing that or doing... And, yeah, it's something you're born with, I think.
It's something you look for. It's something you crave for, right? It's something... There you go. There you go. So I'm interested. I'm interested in more, right? Because you've been to 55 countries, I see. So... Let's
55 countries.
You've been across all sorts of shit.
Actually, I think it's like 58 now or something.
Ooh, 58. Let's get it. Let's get it.
I totally count. I can't even tell you how many times I've been to each country.
That's great.
Yeah,
I believe
I move.
that.
I like to move.
I believe that the only thing that I've done in my life that I'm not in the show for that I don't regret is traveling. I feel like it gives you a better perspective of the world, helps you understand different cultures, different people, and then when you come back to wherever you're from, you have a different perspective.
Totally. It's the best way to learn.
So how did you end up in these 55 countries?
Mostly through photography. So I went through...
Actually, so now you went into photography after modeling.
Okay. So, well, that... No,
you're like a Renaissance woman. You do it all.
Stylist. Oh, yeah, totally. You only live once, right? So, so then I was a stylist for 8 years. And also was a musician during that time. I had a band. So those things kind of started the traveling, like Europe a lot. I was doing a lot of styling for a lot of celebrities like David Bowie, Bjork. Just Portishead, that whole genre.
Okay. I'm hip. I'm hip to the Portishead. I'm hip.
Like
I'm hip.
Portishead?
I'm hip.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm outside, David. I'm outside. I'm outside.
So then I was doing that till I was 30, and then just kind of moved over into photography. It just was a natural progression. And as soon as I started shooting, that took off pretty quickly. And I was doing Levi's and Lancome, and then just started doing a lot of fashion magazines, like ID, a lot of European fashion magazines. And,
so they got you to go to all these amazing countries.
Yeah. Well, so the fashion stuff, but mostly was it was all of it. I ended up doing a lot of photojournalism too, and a lot of travel stuff, and Discover's, the Science magazine. So all these jobs is just constantly traveling.
So what was your favorite thing then? What was your favorite? Was it the because I know you did it all, but and I know you ended up on photography. But what was your favorite? Like what was like your favorite thing to go do? Was it like just let me go take pictures or let me go style? Like what was like the thing?
All of it, But I go back and forth, In photography, for example, there's the fashion stuff. So you're not taking pictures, you're making pictures, right? And I was always a stylist, so I do my sets, and I do everything, all the production. And I moved into film too. I did a lot of videos, probably like 35 films, fashion films and music videos. But I like doing all of it. So it's like you're making something, you're creating something, right? But then there's the other side that life itself is just freaking interesting. And there's so many things out there, like I've done war photography. I was telling you about before we started the podcast. It's like
war
that's an
photography.
Experience, that's an experience. And I just want to see it all, touch it all, do it all in my lifetime. And at least I did. Now the only thing left that I have left to do is get rich. So that's why I entered cannabis. We'll see how that works out. But
I'm sure it's gonna work out great.
Well, we ain't go just put it in like that because you ain't just enter cannabis because we was just talking some nice talk before the camera went on. So hold on. So we gonna tap back into that real quick before we go ahead and go. You went into the legal industry.
Where were we?
And I know she might seem like this nice lady right now, and you see her right now, but we talking about somebody who was just moving some pee. So I want to talk about we gonna tap into that a little bit. Because we ain't just gonna go over that, right? So yes, you did all these things, and now you ended up moving and shaking a little bit here in New York City. How did that start?
being shaky in New York City.
Moving and shaking, right? What I mean is, what like your path, right? What was your path to moving those?
So I guess we got to photography. So
Yep.
far. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and all the different genres, and war photography and science photography and underwater photography and nature and travel and
archaeology photography.
Archaeological digs, underwater archaeological digs. I just kind of moved around between different genres. A lot of record covers. Ended up that ended up being my moneymakers, working for major labels and just doing tons of record covers for artists. And then the industry started to change. It went
digital. You said it started
to digital. Yeah, digital cameras. Also, music. We don't have CDs anymore.
Yeah, that's over.
Nobody's buying music. They're just downloading it first off everyone else's iPods, and then we ended up with, wherever we already got to get to Spotify. So who pays for music anymore? And so the record labels were really hurting. So there just wasn't much money in the industry anymore. Magazines were closing. All of a sudden, there's no magazines anymore. I mean, anything that was, the photo industry just changed. Everything's Instagram. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a phone.
That's it.
Like whatever. Nobody knows how to light anything anymore. It's just like, it's changed. So.
I know Jordan and David feel your pain back there. I know. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah, you're a photographer too.
Unfortunately, nobody knows how to light anymore. But at the same time, it's like you're ahead of the curve when you do.
Yeah. Oh right.
I shoot analog, so I shoot like 35 primarily.
Oh, amazing.
And like no one even touches film anymore, or at least knows how to properly use it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, it's odd. It took me a while. I was the last one standing for digital. I just hated it. But then I got a Sony A7 III, and I kind of fell back in love with digital. It's my baby now. What's that?
Sony gang.
Yeah, you are?
Yeah. I switched over from Canon probably like 4 years ago. I love it.
Nice.
Shout out to Sony. They gonna send us a check one day. Shit.
Actually, I mean, God, here we go. Yeah, there's Sony everywhere.
Let's go.
Okay,
Jennifer,
anyway.
So now photography is dying out. Digital's in.
Yeah.
Now you have made that a career, and now things are changing.
Right, things are changing. And meanwhile, I had bought a very, rather expensive piece of property, land right on the coast in Northern California. I bought 20 acres, and it had nothing to do with cannabis. It's in Mendocino. It just was
trying to grow grapes or something.
I had an ex-boyfriend, and we just decided we wanted to go off the grid.
And that was off the grid.
So it was off the grid. We had had solar satellite, our own well, our own, and everything. It was just totally self-sustaining, off the grid.
Okay.
But I was connected. I was connected to the internet through satellites, and So I did that for a little while, and then because I was sitting in New York, and I was like, I'm flying out for all my jobs anyway. I might as well be someplace beautiful in nature and live off the grid and just kind of, be in nature. And I'll fly out from all my jobs. And then the industry started to change. Meanwhile, I'm flying back and forth between my rent-stabilized apartment in SOHO, my land in California. My neighbors keep saying, do you know anybody in New York that wants to buy any weed? And then the next day I'm back in New York, and I'm at a fashion party, and somebody rather big in the industry came up to me and said, I heard you're living in Mendocino. Are you growing? I said, no, but my neighbors are. And he said, can you get me some? And next thing I know, everything blew up. And I'm selling about 40 pounds a week.
There's always somebody in New York that needs weed.
The one person turned into 8, and I couldn't even get enough, But I'm getting about 40 pounds a week shipped out. I was getting 4 pounds a week FedEx from, FedEx from California for 4 months. And then my building I lived in for 21 years catches fire in the middle of the night. I found 10 pounds in my apartment.
Hold up. For all my hustlers out there,
I've told the story too many times. I'm gonna start making something up.
We gotta give them some context. We gotta give them some color commentary. So, what year is this?
2011.
So 2011.
Yeah.
What are the pounds going for in California, and what are they going for in New York?
I was buying outdoor for about between 18 and 24,000. for outdoor and $2,800 for indoor, but most of it was outdoor. And I was selling it. I was just upcharging everything $1,000 or maybe occasionally $1,200.
Come on.
And never even barely touching it.
Come on, $1,000, $1,200 off a pound. Come on, these guys out there making $100 a pound now.
Yeah, so
$50 a pound and shit like that.
Yeah, I'm just counting money. I was making $40,000 a week cash, and I did this for 3 or 4 months.
So you're the SOHO, SOHO trap queen, Jennifer.
The SOHO trap queen.
The SOHO trap queen.
I hope I don't get arrested again.
So now I'm sorry to cut you off. So now you say that a fire happens in your building.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, and I wake up and I smelled smoke. And
why would they go into your apartment? No, if the smoke was it in your apartment or something?
No, the fire was way on the other side of the building, way on the other side. It was smoky, but there's no fire there. After I got arrested in the morning because they found 10 pounds, and I went to, I got locked up, Rikers. About a week later, I come home, and the fire marshal has to let me into the building, and I see everyone's doors open, so I can see their furniture, and then I know what my apartment looks like. They probably went through my apartment because I traveled all over the world. It looked like it was like a museum in there. I just had like the craziest shit and like some exotic instrument collection, and I don't know. They just
Jennifer, you're the trap queen. Why would you have the money and the weed in the place where you sleep?
But
that's a rule.
Just the 10 piece.
Because
the 10 pounds.
There was 2 reasons. It was a total coincidence.
How was it?
Total
Break it down.
Coincidence. I had 2 helper elves. One of them was this male model who was like renting Airbnbs every other 2 days, and I was getting shipments to Airbnbs, and then it would just go straight to who's ever buying it. I would just go and collect the cash. Basically, I would do usually the trade off, get the cash, and the cash I kept in Manhattan mini storage, and I would do trips. On this particular day, I had brought it back to my apartment, the cash back for a reason, and it was to count it and organize it for certain reasons. And then that day, I had gotten a moldy shipment in from California, and it was 12 pounds. And
they try to hit her with the mold.
Like,
they always try to do that.
I think they sold me everything else, and it was like the last stuff. So they sent me this, moldy stuff. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And I took it back to my apartment to try to figure it out, and I buried it into the back of my apartment, and then in the middle of the night I wake up and I smell smoke, and I open my bedroom door, and it was just like, I'm like, wow, I have seconds to get out of here. I'm in my underwear and a tank top, and it's like I can do one thing. What can I do in the next 2.5 seconds and then get the fuck out of here? So I grab a laundry bag off the floor, and I have 3 boxes of money. It's $100, $100, and $24,000. And I
come on. You're not gonna just skip by that.
What?
You said 100,000, and 27,000.
24,000. Yeah.
24,000.
So I grab one box of 100,000, throw it in the laundry bag. Another box of 100,000, put it in the laundry bag. Just leave the 24, because at that point I'm just counting so much money. I'm like, well, it's just $24,000. And I run out of the building with a laundry bag. I mean, I didn't take my phone, ID, shoes, nothing. I'm in my underwear with a laundry bag with $200,000 cash in it at 2:30 at night in the morning, and the fire department's already there. Is like breaking glass, and so I get in a taxi and I asked if I could use his phone, and the only number that I remembered by heart was my ex-boyfriend who wasn't speaking to me. So I show up outside his building. I didn't even know where he lived. I get his address. He tells me to come over. I get out of the car. He's like, "You smell like smoke." I'm like barefoot with this giant bag of cash, and I laid down at his place and put his pants and shoes back on, his shoes on in the morning, and I go back to the apartment, and they were letting people in. Their fire marshal was taking people in for like 5 minutes at a time if it was deemed safe, so they could get their toothbrush or whatever their ID. So I put my name on this list so they could do that, and then at some point a police officer calls my name, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. So I walk up, put my hands behind my back, they handcuff me and take me to the cop car. He asked me if I know why I'm being arrested, and I told him yes. And but where I got put into the car when I was arrested is really, there's only a building. There's that car, there's a building, and then my new dispensary is the next building over.
That's crazy.
And I have the whole building. Yeah.
The landmark of where the arrest and where the dispensary is now. Full circle.
Yeah, full circle.
So now we got the dispensary. What's the name of the dispensary?
Dagmar Cannabis.
Why Dagmar? What's Dagmar?
I guess when I found out about this license that they were doing for justice-involved people, prioritizing women and people of color who've run a profitable business for 2 years. We missed the whole part where I opened 2 bars. That's part of how I got this license. So I heard about that. My friend sent me an article from New York Times, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to have a dispensary. It's like retail. And she's like, you should. You can make a lot of money. And then I just started to think about it, and I was like, well, I could do it my own way. And so I started to envision visually what that would look like and who I'd want, to appeal to. And so I started to have the visual that's there now. And this is actually 5 years ago. I actually had this first idea for it. And then I kind of, when the license came up, I pulled it off the shelf because it was an aesthetic that just existed and for me, and I applied it to cannabis, and so I was telling my friend about it and showing her some pictures, and she's like, "What would you call it?" And I said Dagmar, and it was the first word that came to my mind, and I had just heard about that name earlier in the day, and it's a Northern European woman's name, but I just, for some reason, I had this image of this sort of like confident, bitchy, sexy woman with a cigarette holder smoking. And I was like, yeah, that's the image. That's what I want to go for. And so I said Dagmar, and she's like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
How do you think you having such an extensive background in fashion and film and photography and etc., how do you think that's played a role in your aesthetic and your whole perspective on cannabis and design, the brand?
Well, it's... I think in everything that I've done creatively, it's always about creating a world. It's creating a world where even if people don't know what it is, they still want to be a part of it. So it's just taking all those elements and creating a world, and you're inviting people to come into it and experience it and be a part of it. So, with all the things I've done, I mean, first of all, I have a pretty massive skill set from business to creative production and oversight in many different tools and, all the traveling, just all the different things I've learned. So, I mean, it's a whole hodgepodge. It's like you're making soup in life, and you just keep throwing stuff in, and it all turns into something, right?
Well, I'm grateful that you brought your talents to the legal cannabis industry in New York because, first of all, you earned it because, somebody would look at you and not expect that you were a victim of the war on drugs and that, you earned this car license. It wasn't like, spoon-fed to you. So, first of all, you earned that, right? Second of all, because of you and your extensive background, now you're bringing all those elements and all those skills to the cannabis industry and giving it a new perspective and making it more appealing to all demographics. And that's what this whole thing is about. As Ramon said earlier, it's about every walk of life having something that speaks to them about the plant to be able to participate. And that's what you're bringing.
Right, yeah. No, thank you for mentioning that. And hopefully we can all bring it some...
I mean, there's guys that got car licenses that were arrested once for a joint in 19-something long time ago. So at least, you know what I mean? You talking to me that you got locked up for 10 pounds in your crib. You talking to me, it's a little bit different. That's all I'm saying. I'm not,
Hundreds of bands out here. Come on, some of these legacy guys out here haven't seen hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, you got our respect. So,
thank you.
What were some of the challenges? Because you told us, you had the vision 5 years ago. Now, legalization happened. This CAURD opportunity happens. What were some of the challenges that you went through when it came to actually the process of acquiring this license and going through all the things?
Where do you want me to start? I mean,
No, but the people, though.
Oh my God! Is there
people.
anything that's harder than doing this?
Nothing.
No. After this, we can do anything.
They say it's the most highly regulated industry in the world.
It has to be. It just couldn't possibly be worse. It's insane. I mean, I don't know, pick up part of it, like banking. I mean, opening a cannabis bank account. Oh my God. It's like you have to sell them your firstborn, and like it's like it's months and months of paperwork and research and forms, and and then you get to another tier, and then it's just like and then they won't even give you a credit card or debit card, so you have to run expenses through your own card, and it's just, it's just so, and then you ruin your credit because you are just constantly having all this like cash rolling through your own credit cards when you're trying to set up a business, because you can't use your own, a credit card for your own business bank account. It's like, that's one part of it. I don't know, real estate. It's like
people don't know this, so people need to know this.
Yeah.
I was going to cut you off, Jennifer, because a lot of people see the final results but don't understand how difficult the process was. So it's so important for those that want to do it to know that this is not for the faint of heart.
And it's exactly how I say it all the time. It's not for the faint of heart. This is not for the faint of heart. And I'm like, I just keep going like, well, I've been this tough so far, so I guess I can just be a little tougher, real estate. Okay, so there's illegal shops everywhere, but then when you go to do a legal dispensary, they act like you're like a drug dealer, and it's just like, I worked 2 years to get this license. I worked with state officials and politicians and lawyers and business people and raised all this capital and everything. And it's like, and you're, like making me prove all this stuff so I can rent this place. And, like my building that I have now, I had to put down 2 years of security to get that building. It's like
2 years.
$600,000 to secure this building. And there's like illegal shops, like, as far as you can,
right.
Like you throw a pebble in any direction, it's like you're going to hit.
You're sure they didn't have to go through any of that?
No.
It's crazy, right?
So there's that. There's raising the capital. That's always complicated. And
in such a high-risk industry like this?
Yeah.
It's not federally legal?
Yeah. Yeah, the illegal stores everywhere, it's just like the promise was, you're going to get this license and you open and we'll help you open, and you open your pockets and you'll just get flooded with money and generational wealth. And then there's illegal shops everywhere. And so, it's just like you're kind of, it's a whole nother challenge. And you're not allowed to market it anyway. You can't advertise. So how are you supposed to get the word out there? And then the industry for me, like, sat under an injunction for 3 or 4 months while I had people on payroll and I'm paying rent. And then I blew through all my cash flow money doing that, and then all of a sudden we open, so there is no marketing budget or cash flow budget, so I really have to just really, focus to make ends meet, and it's just a lot. It's a lot, but I'm doing it.
But you're doing
it,
but people need to know. We're on our
you're
way
doing it. We're on our way. You did it. When did you officially open?
December 15th. I'm still doing it. I have a long ways to go. Or a ways to go. It's like, it's all going, it all goes as it goes. We're all in different places on the path.
So let's use you as an advisor, because it seems like some of these regulators and politicians need some advice and some words of wisdom. What would you recommend for them to do to support somebody like you that's going through all these challenges and has, put your life, your money, and your time into this industry, and now are going through all these battles to survive? What would you recommend what would be helpful, like from like as far as like regulators, politicians, that can do to help you face these challenges? What do you think?
There's 2 things. One is closing down all the illegal stores, and it's not just the retailers. That goes all the way to the farmers and to everybody in this industry, no matter what part you're playing in the legal market. That's taking away from our business. You made us fight for this. It costs, these licenses cost us a lot of money, time, our lives, connections. Just all kind of, prior businesses. We all gave up a lot. It's like, you owe it to us to get rid of this illegal store. It's like, why are we going legal when we could just do it, And the other thing is, I think that they should be providing grants, low-interest loans, financial aid to all of us, right back to the farmers and anybody else in the business. That the farmers, my God, it's like they've been doing this. They had last year's crop that they weren't able to get rid of, and now all the retailers open and they're not making ends meet, so they're having a hard time paying the vendors and the farmers, and it's just like that the state needs to help us.
I also will add to that. I believe, because of what you mentioned earlier right now, where advertising and marketing is so difficult. I think they need to highlight also.
The third thing. We should definitely be able to advertise. We can within boundaries. Maybe you don't need to show somebody smoking, or you can handle like a cigarette campaign, or alcohol. I mean, look at all the alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like there's alcohol advertising everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a clever way for us to maneuver a way for us to get the word out, right? Because we've been doing it, our whole lives already. I think
already you're doing it in a clever way. But,
so I think there's a way that we can figure out that it's okay for us to kind of like get the word out to adults, to 21 and over. There is a lot of platforms that is 21 and over out there. I think they should start opening up those type of situations for us, and I think I think that'll be better.
Yeah. Sooner rather than later is better.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I believe that, you just mentioned alcohol, tobacco. I can't change the channel without having a different pharmaceutical drug trying to be sold to me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
How about that?
All
With
right.
1,000 side effects?
Yeah,
one of those
it.
joints?
Nailed
one
it.
of those commercials? Call the shit, I don't know.
That's the drug. Those are the drugs.
Ratrax or some
Those
shit.
are the drugs.
You can't
7,000.
You can't watch
Those
3
are the
commercials
drugs.
without one of those coming down the pipeline.
Oh yeah, white collar
Should have killed your headache, but it'll give you
Crazy.
throw up.
Yeah.
It should have give you the runs. All that shit. Shit is.
They got all the ads. They on everything all day and all night, and it's just like you said, like they have to find a creative way for us to be able to do that, and for somebody like you to be able to highlight what you're doing. Because you already went through all these challenges. You're betting on trying to uplift society and create tax revenue, and you're employing people.
Yes.
It's only right.
Yep.
So that's why. So how do you feel that your experience from being the trap queen of SOHO at one time to now, being legal? How do you think that you having that experience plus the legal experience you have now, how do you think that has helped you really get maybe a different perspective than somebody that hasn't done both in the legal market?
Oh God, I don't even know how to answer that.
Remember, they all haven't dealt with hundreds of thousands in cash. They haven't really seen pounds before. So you have both of these experiences.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's taking it way back, right? It's way less money. It's way less cash handling. All the packaging, everything's prepackaged, very small. It's not like airline pillows and hundreds of them. It's smaller, but it's way more serious. It's just like everything's regulated. Every move you make is on camera or recorded or documented in some way. And you have to watch every move you make.
Also, part of my research showed me that you grew up in a Scandinavian self-sustaining kind of farm or something like that?
Yeah, it was a 5th generation farm. My great-great-grandma still lived there and died when I was 4. But it was 80 acres on the Mississippi River in Minnesota. And we grew all our own food. My father bought it from my great-grandma. He just wanted to be close to nature. We grow our own food, everything organic. We had 1 cow and 4 sheep and 1 horse and 12 chickens for eggs. And everything was very small, but it was we were self-sustaining.
So now you started on a farm with nature and plants, and now you're in the concrete jungle, providing the best plant in the world to people. How things come full circle.
Yeah, I get. Oh, but my dad did grow. Like he had secret crops.
Oh,
secret crops. It took me a long time to find out. I had this weird memory when I was little. On 4th of July, we had to go into the woods and pick these wild marijuana plants, and then these men with suits came by and they took it away. And I keep forgetting to ask my dad what was.
Men in suits.
You know what it was
It
now.
was wild marijuana.
You know what it was now.
And I remember my mom just being kind of upset, and I couldn't really figure out why. So I don't know. There's some interesting story behind that, but so yeah, we grew many things on the farm.
How do you feel about the way that, you know, New York has really done something revolutionary where they really focused on, you know, marginalized people, small and medium-sized businesses, rather than, you know, in other states they usually focus on like the larger corporations and, you know, the MSOs and etc. How do you feel like, you know, it's a big achievement that you were able and us to get a license before them because of our history? How do you feel like this program can change the dynamic and the power balance that we've seen throughout the country where marginalized people usually don't get an opportunity to participate?
I mean, I think the concept of that's amazing, and I personally appreciate it so much. I mean, I'm just floored by it as a concept, and more or less it rolled out like that. But I think that there's a lot of people who didn't have financing and didn't have the experience to do something that's incredibly difficult. So they got in over their head and weren't necessarily promised the kind of help that they were expecting to get. So a lot of people really suffered because of it too, and maybe even gave up other livelihoods to do this. And so, you know, a lot of the parts, I hate to use the word failed, but it didn't roll out as we had all hoped. But, you know, I'm extremely fortunate that I was able to get through a lot of it. You know, it's still difficult now, but I'm at least in a brick and mortar, I'm open, I'm licensed, I got the funding to be able to do it, and I lucked out. And I worked really hard to get that, but you know, some of it's luck and some of it's just making it happen, right?
No, definitely, and it's and like me and Ramon always say, and it goes for everybody, it's an opportunity. It's not going to be a birthright. It's not going to be a walk in the park. It's an opportunity to be able to do it. You know what I mean? It's never going to be easy in this industry and any other, but it's rare that, you know, smaller players like us get even the opportunity to try to do this hard thing.
Amen.
So.
Amen. Totally. I never had this opportunity.
Again, I'm always a fan of a different approach, right? Because if we saw whatever approach happened in California, whatever approach happened in Chicago, Massachusetts, all these things, if we saw that the approach probably still is not the best, then I like the fact that we took a different approach just to see if that works, right? Because we already seeing every other approach is not working, right? So that's all I'm saying. I'm all okay with the new approach until the shit works or until the shit doesn't, right? And then we got to do something else.
It's a whole big socio experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Dagmar aims to cater to different demographics, professionals, you know, creatives, etc., older clients. Can you explain like what ethos and what separates Dagmar that you feel can speak more to these demographics more than like what's been out there previously?
Well, what I found is there's a lot of dispensaries and a lot of aesthetic is it's for guys, for dudes.
That's
for bros.
That's a fact. We 1,000% know.
You know, great.
Okay.
I like bros, but you know,
it's not inclusive.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, you know, look at me. I'm a 56-year-old woman, artist, businesswoman, mother. I love smoking cannabis. What about people like me? Mm-hmm. And there's tons out there, and that's, you know, it's the beautiful thing about the plant is that all kinds of different people love it and want to smoke it, and like where do they go, you know? And I also think like why not just be creative and imaginative and, you know, do something beautiful with it. So and I love design and I love beautiful spaces, so I just, you know, took the opportunity to design something that I found really beautiful and that spoke to the plant and the female side of the plant, and I mean, it's just a magical plant, and it is a very pretty plant. So why can't the store be also magical and pretty and and attract women and artists and creative professionals, financial people, like SOHO people, tourists, more of a tourist attraction. Like, oh, if you're in New York City, you should go to this really wild dispensary and
and I feel like it's New York. I feel like I kind of feel like people forgot about that, right? Like this is New York.
Totally.
Let's spice it up a little bit.
I know, right? I know.
That's the least that we could do is give the dope hospitality, fly space, fly environment. Like, come on now, like that's like I don't understand. So I'm glad that you got to add some spice to it, man. You got to. I love it.
And I want to know your opinion. Like, this is my perspective, right? Jen, is like when it came, so you've been in the cannabis industry for 25 years. Like, I feel like the West Coast has always produced amazing things. They produce great wine, cannabis, food, etc. In the cannabis industry, they've really mastered, strains and cultivation and really, elevated that to a high level. But as Ramon just said, we're New York. We're the culture capital of the world. We add experience, we add flavor, we add style to everything. I'm in total agreement and so happy that you went out on a limb to really add that, because that's what we are about.
Thank you. Amen. Yes, totally. That's why I'm here, just like I want to be around people who just, all these people just doing their own thing and doing it well. New Yorkers do it well. So,
man. And look good while we at it, right? Because somebody always got a style outside, right? You know what I mean? So you want to attract those styles, those fashions, those people who are in that world, right? Because this is New York. Let's be real. Whether you in SOHO or you in Dykeman, baby, everybody gets fly.
Yeah.
So I love
New York state of mind.
There you go.
So looking back, Jen, let's talk to little Jen on the farm. After little Jenny, this amazing journey that you've been on in life, all these different fields, all these things you've done. If you had to go back and give little Jenny on the farm before she spread her wings a word of advice, what would it be that you've learned throughout life now?
That's a fun question. Can I get back to you in a few days?
I like that, man. That's like, let's reach deep.
Yeah, that's great. I love deep questions.
Yeah, because it's like that just doesn't go for little Jenny. That goes for also so many young ladies out there that are just starting their journey. They're just starting to spread their wings. That want to know what you would say to little Jenny, because they're in that phase right now before they take off, and become the Renaissance woman that Jennifer Tzar has.
I don't know. I get so. Actually, I just followed. I heard this quote when I was really young. I think I was like 17. This Francis Bacon quote, and I heard it, and it always resonated with me. So I guess I'm not giving myself advice, but if you're bringing up other young girls, the quote is, "It's also meaningless. We may as well be extraordinary."
It's also meaningless. We might as well be extraordinary.
Yeah.
I like that. You get so deep and philosophical, Jen. I like that.
You asked a deep and philosophical
pothead shit. Let's go. All right, that was the pothead moment right there.
About that.
No, but think about it. It's just like, we all think we're so important, and we're just a little speck of dust and a little speck of time, and we're just here right now, and so you might as well just go for it. Like, what do you have to lose? Yeah. So just do it all. Like that. I don't know. That's why I've always done so many things and tried different things.
Oh, he liked that. Don't worry. That's music to his ears. Don't worry. Let's do it.
I'm also a little bit of a Dominican hippie, and I'm really spiritual, and I really get philosophical also, Jen. So I might steal that one.
I have some more too. You want to hear more? Do you have a pen?
So you also. Some of my research showed me that you also, prior to starting the whole cannabis thing now, you also, because you've done so much, it's so hard to remember everything. Like I said, you also had a venue up in Hudson, New York, where I believe it was a bar or a restaurant or something like that.
Yeah, bar, cafe, venue.
So how was that?
One in LA. It was really boring after. It was great. I mean, it was very successful. It was lovely, beautiful. But I went from kind of traveling the world to being stuck in one place in this small town. not even in New York, like, yeah, it was hard. I was very like here, and I'm not really that type, so.
To be free.
Yeah.
Be able to flow and flow.
Yep.
So what was the inspiration for you to even get into the what was it, the tavern in the Hudson and Oracle and the tavern in LA? What was it? What was the epiphany that you went on that journey?
So what happened is the fire happened in my building when they found the cannabis and I got arrested. The arrest made international news. It didn't totally ruin my career, but it got a little trickier for certain clients, especially because you could just Google my name and that's the first thing that comes up along with all my other shoots, and so there was that, and then I don't know. I'm not sure who started the fire in my building, but the landlord instantly started turning into a luxury building, and out of all the units. He started offering everybody buyouts that was rent stabilized, and he offered me $20,000, and I said, no, I want my apartment back. And then 3 years later, he offered me $175,000, sorry. And I had been staying up in Hudson because I was still just floating around waiting to get my apartment back. And like, for that amount of money, I could start a business. I could tell Hudson was about to pop as a tourist destination. It was just starting to look like it was probably going to get really trendy. So I took that money and opened a bar. I don't know. I didn't go to school I went to school for science for a couple of years, but what does somebody like me do?
School.
Like,
you ain't gonna go. You went to bar school.
I know. I went to exactly. Okay, all right. Say it like it is.
Right.
Like
Nobody went to bar school.
I stayed in a lot of hotels, and It's, but I didn't. That $176,000. It's like, yeah, I could probably open a business, and I need to do something else besides photography anyway. And and all of a sudden, all the photographers, everyone's selling their gear. Nobody's making money anymore. The whole thing was just falling on its face. I'm like, I got to come up with something. So I pulled a bar out of my ass and did that. And then I was up in Hudson for 5 years, bored out of my mind. And it was very pleasant. I lived in a nice house. Everything was great. It was just like, what am I doing here? Did I retire? So then, rather than renew my lease,
you like the action, like me. I could tell, Jan. You need the action.
Man, I got to be on the street. So, it's just. So then, so rather than renew the lease, I just picked the whole bar up and moved it to LA because I wrote a few screenplays. So I'm like, I'll just try to make movies. I don't know. And then I get to New York and I made LA and I put this bar together, Oracle Tavern. And then the pandemic hit. I opened for 5 days and then it was the shutdown order for a year. It was great. I got tons of financial aid. I got to take a year off. It was perfect. But then I opened it. That blew up, and it was doing really well. Didn't like LA. I wanted to be back in New York, and then this license came up, and I'm like, I'm going back. Calling. I'm going back, and that's why I'm never ever leaving again. Ever. You can't drag me out of here.
Jenny, you have you have been on such a roller coaster in this life. So many perspectives, so many journeys, so many different fields. So I really want to know your opinion on. Where do you see, let's say, 5 years from now, like New York cannabis and cannabis in general? Like, where do you see it heading to? What could it be? What are the possibilities, in your opinion?
I guess we already determined I was an optimist earlier, so let's go that route. I hope that it's the incredible regulations that go along with this also extend out to getting rid of all the illicit shops so we can really shut that down and we can start flourishing. But I'd like to see, at Dagmar, I want to keep expanding. I have a lot of branding ideas and other business entities that are cannabis and non-cannabis, and, I have tons of ideas. But I think I would like to see the industry in New York turn into this creative, classy, or not, or what, for that to just keep blossoming. More mom and pops, more perspectives, more places to find it, to smoke it, to consume it, to, like a thriving legal market that's really New York.
Yeah, you want what I like to say is, the cannabis lifestyle, right? It's not just cannabis, right? It's fashion, it's the munchies, it's art, music.
We didn't ask her about
all
the
these
munchies.
things, right? So that's what we would go. We definitely gonna go into that, right? So so let us know. What's your favorite munchies?
Meaning, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily a snack. It could be your favorite restaurant.
What's
in New York.
What's
like
your go-to?
You recommend somebody after they purchase some cannabis. Like, what is one of your favorite foods?
After someone goes to Dagmar, where are they going?
So I go to 2 places. So if you want to find me, and I'm not a Dagmar, I go to Prince and Mercer Street, and I either go to Finelli's or I go to Lure.
Finelli's or Lure?
You know,
what they got at Finelli's? What they got at
Lure's? How old? Like, I don't know, a couple hundred years old. Old pub.
What do they have in Finelli's?
Just like, fried calamari and beer. And but it's no music, and it's great. And the most interesting people. Like, it's just interesting people. It's everybody. You have venture capitalists and celebrities to just like the old retired guy who can barely walk half a block to get there, who's lived there forever. It's like kind of all of it. It's just like it's an old English pub vibe, And then Kitty Corner is just super posh, amazing Japanese, and you go downstairs and you look like you're in a yacht. It's all mahogany and really good quality seafood and sushi, but it's kind of neighborhood hidden spot, like tourists.
New York shit.
Tourists don't go in there. They don't want to go
down.
downstairs, and it's like kind of under stairwell, and so it's more.
So Lure and what's the other one?
Finelli's.
Lure and Finelli's, ladies and gentlemen.
Complete opposite.
You heard it from the queen.
Don't go there.
Trap
They're
queen
already
of Soho.
too crowded. They're already too crowded. You shouldn't go there. In fact, I don't like either of those places at all.
So
they better give me
another
a free
thing
meal after that.
that I'm looking forward to.
We always welcome free
Always
meals here.
we always
Hear that,
ask,
Sony?
we always ask every guest the $1 million question. So from everything that you know about Happy Monkey, our history, the lounge, the organization, whatever you feel, what if you had one word to describe our movement, our brand, what would it be and why?
Good people, because everybody that I've met from Happy Monkey's has been a good person that I really like.
Good people.
Yeah, good people.
Good people. We haven't had that one, right?
Used that one yet. Good people.
Right? That as simple as it sounds, right? Nobody has used that, right?
Isn't that the most important thing?
That's it right there. That's it.
Well, Jen, you got to tell the people where they can find you, how all the different ways they can stay in touch, exact address of Dagmar, so they can come check out this amazing Soho vibe. And don't let the pretty face fool you. You will also meet the Trap Queen that was running the legacy over there too.
It's in Soho, and it's 412 West Broadway between Spring and Broome, and Dagmar Cannabis on Instagram. It's Dagmar Cannabis.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
10 to 8 every day.
Tap in to Dagmar Cannabis, catch a vibe. Maybe my friend Jen could give you some style tip if you need some drip, advice.
Yeah, man. Get some flyness. Step out your shyness.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that.
There you go, David. Did we miss anything? Do we have anything before we?
I actually got 2 little news updates.
All right, let's do it.
On some stuff.
Oh.
So, Oregon lawmakers passed a bill to cap the number of cannabis licenses due to market oversaturation. And I was just curious what you guys think on market caps, especially Oregon being as flooded as it has been. But also, how do you think stuff like that's going to approach the New York market? Because I know we're also having our own issues with license caps and things like that. So, just curious what you guys think as 3 card license holders. Well,
the truth is, in my opinion, I'll give you my opinion first. I just feel like it's a fine balance, right? You need a cap. It doesn't have to be a low cap like we've seen in other markets, but you need a cap, because if not, you end up with Oklahoma, and then people like me, Jen and Ramon, that spent millions of dollars for this opportunity, it will end up being worth $100 if there's no cap. So I feel like there has to be a balance where you don't give too little, but you don't give too much, or else the market goes to shit and these licenses have no value. That's my opinion.
But at least we have the 1,000-foot radius in this city and 2,000 feet outside the city, right? So that'll at least give us a territory that should help. I mean, automatically we'll cap it to a certain extent, right? Because at some point you can get a license, but if there's no place to open, you're not can't open.
I'm just glad none of that shit is happening here, right? So I'm glad we seen it through somebody else first, and then we're like, okay, that's what the struggle's at. We're not doing that, right? So, hey.
And that's why, to add to your point, we have to protect that 1,000-foot thing, because that's something else they're going to come for eventually. And without that, then we're really all out.
Hopefully it's a bunch of class action suits then, because that's what they gave us when they gave it to us. So
there you go.
You know, that's an easy one to fight, I think.
Agreed.
I got one more.
Number two.
Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey announced a pardon to all individuals with misdemeanor cannabis offenses. And so just curious what your guys' opinion on that is, and how you hope that translate for other states.
I'm really like disappointed with that, because they've done that on a federal level. Now they're doing it in Massachusetts. Like, the misdemeanor people are not the people that are in prison. The felony people are the people that are in prison. And it's just like, you got to pardon all the felony people, because now there's, like, people making billions of dollars off of this, millions of dollars off of this. It's not right to have somebody's freedom taken away while other people out here profiting of it, including us. Not the misdemeanor shit is okay, but it's like sort of like, it's like a fake, news flash. It's not affecting anybody, because nobody does prison time for misdemeanor. Yeah. So it's great, it's a step in the right direction, people's records for jobs and etc. But they need to do that for felons, and the rest is my opinion.
Yeah, that's my opinion too.
I guess I third that, man. I'm hoping it's a start to something, though, at least, right? Because you got to start somewhere, no matter what the situation is. So I'm hoping, I guess, that's the start to something, because it has to actually lead to something better than that, right? So I hear you.
A little news flash for you guys.
So, thank you so much, Jen, for coming on
and
gracing us with your presence.
Yeah.
I learned so much from you today. Thank you. And I appreciate you. For those out there, once again, don't let a pretty face fool you. She's putting more work than a lot of these other people that look like they have, but they haven't. So for everybody out there, remember, you're too blessed to be stressed. Things will get greater later. Always choose happy. Till the next episode, peace.